Robin.
You're listening to Opie Anthony. On the virus. Sirius XM.
We got David Lee Roth in studio. We had Ethan Hawke in studio.
3 out of 5 falls.
And now the great Doc Gooden has just entered the studio. My God.
Like Gooden?
Wow.
Very cool.
We didn't know this was happening today. This is great. How are you, man?
Is there an occasion? What's the occasion?
That's a good question.
Is there a specific occasion? Is your book
It's
brand new?
Yeah,
it's a memoir.
Definitely.
Yeah, memoirs, huh?
Yes,
That's of quite the career.
Are they good memories or bad memories, or are they saleable?
Oh, there's a little bit of everything in there. It's the good memories, the bad memories, the not so good memories. What was going on in my head during the times of the good memories and the bad memories.
Yeah.
You start the book with a chilling, it's like really sad and frustrating story about the World Series, the parade, and the when you missed that. It's fucking heartbreaking through. Even though I knew how it ended, I kept hoping, like just go. You're watching this frustrating, drug addicted.
Yeah, but nevertheless, somebody once said, if somebody made a movie of your life, would a lot of people go to see it? And it sounds like a lot of people would, and that's a success story.
That's that story that I'm still alive to tell the story is amazing.
Hello.
You know.
Right.
Which is Yiddish for yo. Come on.
Definitely, because like you mentioned, missing a parade that night was like supposed to be the happiest day of my baseball career. Turned out to be the saddest day of my baseball career. You know, you end up in a project, you're doing drugs and drinking with strangers you don't even know. And, you know, you're watching the parade on TV.
That was me.
You know,
that was you.
That was me. And the thing about it, you don't get to redo that.
Right. That's a one-off, man. If you miss it, that's a big one.
But talking about the people that you were getting high with, and how, like, you know, you start off the night loving these people, and it's fun, and it's camaraderie, and then by the end of the night, you're just like, I want to just get the fuck out of here. The sun is coming. Like, knowing that you're about to miss it, and it happens anyway.
Oh, it's just the worst experience you could ever imagine in your life. Because, like you said, the idea was to go there, do a little bit, and get out of there and go finish, celebrate with my teammates. Obviously, I got there, and it never ends that way. Not for me anyway, with cocaine. Normally, when I go on a bench with that, it's a 3-day thing, and that's just the way it is. And cocaine's a tricky drug.
Wow.
You know,
in my rock band, getting loaded wasn't like an episode thing. It was a seasonal thing. It's like it's summertime. Let's get loaded.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's Tuesday. Let's get loaded.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean all summer.
The whole summer.
All summer, I guess.
Were you a drug guy, David Lee Roth?
No, I'm a beer and pot guy.
That's what I thought.
You know, I'm an outdoor kind of, I got lucky. My bad habits are more like 2 chicks in a toaster oven, but please continue.
Stayed away from the white stuff, huh?
How old are you?
No, I did everything. I sampled everything. I tried everything, but I just snuck out from under it because I was going to also be a samurai warrior, and I had to be in the gym, but that's the only reason. I didn't have any self-control for about 20 years.
Were they piss testing back then in baseball? It's amazing to me that you were able to do all that coke and still play and not get kicked out.
Well, it was a situation where normally they can't test you unless you've been through a program or you tested positive before or got in trouble or something like that. Up until the time where the Mets decided to test me in the spring training in 1987, I hadn't been in any trouble for it. There's a lot of there's a pattern there that could have led to that they could have saw what was going on. So actually, in spring training '87, it got to the point where obviously you missed the parade after the '86 season, get into a scuffle with the cops after the '86 season, you get to spring training, showing up late. They knew something went wrong, and one day they called me in and said, "We'd like to test you." Me not knowing the whole thing, all I knew is I enjoyed doing cocaine, not knowing how long it stayed in the system, not knowing that I had my rights that I could have refused to test. So I figured I hadn't done nothing in the day, go ahead and test me. And by doing that, it was a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, the test came back positive. At that point, they said, we need you to go to rehab and we'll continue to pay your salary. Or if you choose not to go to rehab, we're going to suspend you without pay. So even though I still was in denial, didn't think I had a problem, I decided I'll go to rehab, I'll count the days down, 30 days till I'm done, and I still get my pay. So obviously I went to the rehab to Smithers, which is a great program, but I didn't try to get anything out of it because I still think I had a problem.
Who even knew what rehab was in those days? That was something you sent Uncle Bob to when he was up to a court or whatever. People still thought cocaine wasn't addictive, that was rock star stuff to do, and you a lot of times you'd sign up to go into showbiz so you could do that. We decided we were going to break all the records, those included. We were going to make Elvis look like a beginner. I was going to make Keith Richards look like a freaking Boy Scout, So these days the perspective on it is very different. the reality entered into the picture, of course.
But it's totally different now, and obviously, like you said, you think it's not, addictive or whatever, and then plus the danger of it now, you don't know what's in this stuff you're taking.
Oh, man. Yeah.
What was the first sign? Because you said that you talked about when you missed the parade, but before that, the Mets there had been rumors about your drug use. And what was the first sign, or what first tipped them off to, like, ugh?
Who are you looking at, Jim?
I think what tipped them off was, hanging out at different party spots in the city where, basically drugs are known to be at, and hanging out at those places. So obviously, Major League Baseball called myself in and questioned me as well as Darryl about, using drugs. And of course you deny it.
Sure.
No, it's not me. And of course Darryl said, no, it's Doc. But that happens. But, at that time, obviously I was using. And, at that point, I refused to be tested by Major League Baseball.
Where do you think this came from? Because, anybody looking in from the outside, you're at the top of your game. I mean, you're a star. World Series. I mean, where do you think that came from?
Well, I can tell you exactly where it came from. It came from all the pressure, all the expectations, not only from the media, but then the expectations I started putting on myself. For example, like 84, my rookie year when I came into the league at 19 years old, it really wasn't much expectations to after the All-Star break. Then expectations came, and then I have my career year in 1985. So 86, everything I did was compared to 85. For example,
86 was a good year.
Yeah, 86 that
was a great year.
It was 3 months shorter than most years because it was up all night, though.
Yes, yep, gotcha. So now, like if I won a game against, say, like Fernando Valenzuela or Hershiser, if I won 2-0, complete game shutout, but I only had 4 strikeouts. The first question would be, what happened? You only had 4 strikeouts.
Oh, wow.
So the next start, I'm going out trying to get 10 strikeouts, trying to pitch a complete game, trying to pitch a shutout. And just all expectations, just trying to live up to that. And what I started doing was medicating myself, with drugs and alcohol.
So you listen to the critics. It's athletes I know get, like, entertainers get critics and stuff, and athletes get killed on the back page. That would affect you, what they were saying about you?
Oh, 100%. I think most players, maybe it's a 2%, maybe don't affect. But myself, obviously, unfortunately, being a people pleaser as well, I pay attention to the papers, pay attention to what's being said, and anything you see, it affected me because now I got to go out, I got to do better, and it took away the fun of the game.
And you would, it was nice to read too. You talked about your father a lot, and what an influence he was, and you were the first boy in the family, so he became obsessed with just you and baseball. And you would call him after every game and kind of share that with him.
Yeah, definitely. My dad is the one that really taught me the game. I remember as a kid sitting there watching the games on TV with him. Back then, there wasn't all the baseball networks. You just got the game of the week on Saturday. They won't have a game on the radio, whatever the team was, local, close by at that time, and watch the games. And he taught me the game. So once I made it, after every game, we had this deal where he had the big satellite dish back then. After the game was over, before I even talked to the media, I'll call my dad. We'll talk about baseball and go over the game, what I could have done differently. Even if I pitch a shot, he'll find something that could have been done differently just to kind of keep me humble.
Would that bother you if he criticized it, or would you actually look for his advice and counsel on what you did wrong?
I always look for it. It didn't really bother me because what it's doing is trying to, even during the 85 season, he was just trying to give me something to work on between starts where you don't just settle for having a good game.
Did he know you were in trouble with drugs at that point?
What's funny is, like I talked about a lot in the book, where in 87 when I tested positive, I had to come home and tell my parents that, I got to go to rehab. My mom, she always knew something wasn't right. I think my dad kind of looked the other way a little bit, and plus my dad, he had his drinking problem as well. So when I told him, I failed the drug test, I go to rehab, my mom basically said, well, that's great, you can get the help you need, where my dad just kind of dropped his head.
Oh, wow.
And never said a word.
Well, he doesn't want the spotlight at that point in time. If he's got an issue, then, a little bit of your spotlight of that issue would get towards him. Yeah. I had too many temptations. It was started off as, Jesus, the longer I stay up, the more girls we can sleep with, and the more guys we can go jam blues with, and then we can just stay up all the way until we're into the next city. And we could do that for 3 days in a row. You follow? That's why we started drinking Jack Daniels.
But the press looks at a rock band and goes
differently.
Cool, that's cool.
Oh, well, you're supported. You're
looks
you're
at a
supposed to
baseball
do
player.
it.
It's completely different
like
worlds.
Dwight, and is like, what are you doing? Yeah, you're
my
a
breath-
bottle.
I don't think he could have been
totally different,
swigging Jack Daniels.
Right.
Yeah.
In my department,
Yeah.
in my department, people get upset if you didn't party. You know,
Right,
they
that's what I'm
said,
saying.
actually, I kind of like. I'm thinking about doing the marathon. They go, whoa, what happened to
Yeah.
5 in the morning, Dave?
The Mets PR
that has its own pressure on you as well.
If the Mets PR wouldn't be thrilled. Doc fucked 2 girls. Get a picture out quick.
Oh, God.
It's rock stars and athletes, I think, have different expectations. with it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, totally different game, but
You also
I
told-
definitely have a lot of
Probably
respect
the
for what
same
you guys
dealer.
do.
Oh, God.
You told a great story too in the book about your dad being shot by or shot at by your mom. So you grew up in a very interesting house.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Say the least.
And as a kid, you know, unfortunately, and I'm sick it may sound, but just thought those were normal things that took place in every family.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of are.
So
Depending on what point of the map you're pointing at, it's not so unusual. In a lot of neighborhoods, that is common life and so forth. You know, please. You can,
Yeah, so when that happened, actually, my dad was having an affair, and a lot of times he'll tell my mom that I want to go get some cookies and juice or whatever. But what he would do is ask me, you want to go to the store? Which any kid would say, yes, I want to go to the store. So I'll go to the store, we'll get the cookies and juice, and then we'll go to his girlfriend's house. Her oldest daughter would come outside in the car and kind of babysit me while he's in there taking care of his business. And somehow my mom found out what was going on. And this one particular day, she followed him to the house. And when him and the woman is coming out, she actually, shot at him and the woman. She actually hit him in the shoulder. And she always told me the story where she was upset that she didn't get the woman as well.
Wow.
I mean, my mom was the sweetest lady, but also she could be the toughest lady.
Oh, man, a woman scorned.
We got a question from the guy in the corner.
Hey, Doc.
Jay Mohr.
I'm in hard. It's ironic to me, like, when you get high as an athlete, I don't think you guys are aware of the high you provide us on a daily basis. I was at your no-hitter at Yankee Stadium. It was just a Tuesday. That's all I remember. What most about your no-hitter, it was just a Tuesday. And that's a no-hitter. It's the craziest thing you could ever be a part of, because the Super Bowl, the World Series, the All-Star Game, you bring all your hype with you. A no-hitter, it's fucking Tuesday. And your friend goes, do you want to come? You're like, all right, you know what, I'll go. And then by the 7th inning, you can't breathe. And then you threw like 190 pitches in that game. You walked 8. It was the Mariners, and it was like Paul Sorrento, Jay Buhner.
Listen to that memory, huh?
Ken Griffey Jr. Like the last 5 guys you faced, it was like, oh my God! In the 7th inning, is he going to come out for the 8th? 8th inning, now he's got to come out for the 9th. Yeah. That was probably athletic viewing. At second place being Larry Johnson hitting the 3 in the Garden against the Pacers. Your no hitter was like. That was the biggest high for me in the world. So it's just ironic that as so many athletes fall into the traps of drugs, but I guess that's what we're all doing. We're just chasing the dragon every time we go to the stadium.
At the end of a game like that, you feel as tired
here.
as the guy actually playing.
Yeah.
A game like that, yeah.
Were you high on the air? On the mound?
No, I never used
before the game or during the game or anything.
That's self-control right there.
But it was already premeditated after the game.
What about Darryl?
Okay.
Did he use during the game?
After the game was I was going to use either to celebrate or I was going to lose. I mean, use because I was pissed.
Right.
Was Darryl? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he did.
Seen in the book,
wait a minute. Is that the breakfast of champions that you're eating?
Yes. Thanks for pointing it out there, David Lee Roth. Trying to finally eat breakfast.
Hey, Doc,
Multi-grain Cheerios if you need it.
In the Bad Guys One, there's been a bunch of Mets books about that era, and it seemed like, and I'm not asking you to air your guy out or throw your guy under the bus under any situation.
But in case you do.
You can only speak for yourself, I know that. But it seemed like once the tests started coming back, there seemed to be this sort of like, oh, you got to talk to Darryl, or Darryl would say, oh, you got to talk to Doc. This sort of like running back and forth, like it wasn't me, it was him, it wasn't him, it was me. Was that the media making that up, or was it like, I'm going to get suspended, I better...
Well, no, not at all. For me, when anytime the rumors came around with me, they would ask me, or even out there when I failed my test in '87, the Mets in Major League Baseball to know was who is you using with? What's your teammates? You better tell us. If you don't tell us, this is what's going to happen. And I just said, well, and the truth was I was basically used by myself. I mean, me and Darryl used together occasionally, like say in '86, but outside of 1 or 2 times, that was it. Obviously, he's been public with his troubles, I've been public with mine, but we never really partied together.
Are you sober now? Are things good now?
Yeah, 2.5 years.
Cool.
Yeah,
so everything's going well.
That's
I
good.
like that.
That's really
Let's
great.
do it.
Thank you.
I got
I'm going
32
to a
days
meeting
clean
right
and
now.
sober. Not in a row.
This is start.
Since January. Since January.
That's got to be weird to be at a meeting and Doc Gooden sitting across from you sharing. I'm like, I had a rough day. My barbecue didn't fire up. And you're like, well, when I won my World Series ring. You're like, wait a minute. Is this the 3 o'clock Mohr Park meeting? Well, where are we?
There is a 3 o'clock Mohr Park meeting. Huh?
I know. Yeah.
That's right.
And a 1 o'clock.
It's amazing you say that, though, but, anytime I'm in the meetings, you know that obviously everybody's in there from different walks of life.
Yeah.
But we're all there for the same common goal.
That's right.
And that's the main, help each other stay clean and sober just for that day. And
Yeah, it is.
Tomorrow do the same thing.
It is an amazing, we'll just say, a program that it really is when you walk in. Nobody gives a shit. We're all just trying to keep our lives together. It's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
What's good about the book too is, and listening to you talk, we were talking about when people write something in the book. Dave and I were talking about how they don't want to talk about it on the air, and you're brutally honest. It's great. Like that really makes people want to read a book. Is like you're not coming in going, well, I don't know, God. You're like just fucking. This is everything that happened. Here it is, and that's what I wish everybody would do when they put out a book and they talk about their life. It's brutally honest.
Hey, if I don't see myself reflected in your eyes, I'm going to get out within 30 seconds of your story. You follow? And the stuff that attracts me most to people's stories and people's backgrounds are the flaws, the cracks in the woodwork, the fractures. Your favorite jeans are the ones that are most fucked up with the holes in the knees and the old boots that aren't polished. And that's the most interesting thing about each other as human beings.
As long as there's no hole in the back of the jeans, because you know what that means.
But that you mentioned that, for me, what kept me sick for so long is like, your sick is your secrets. And for a long time, like you mentioned, I would tell half the story. I wasn't comfortable telling the whole story. It took a while for me to admit that I have a disease. It took a long time to admit that I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic. Those words, when I said it, I kind of stumbled over them because I was still in denial. And to me, it was like, that means you're weak. So I finally got to a point that, hey, I'm dying thinking I got this stuff under control. Because, I've been to prisons, I've been to jails, I've been to rehabs. So the only thing left for me is the cemetery if I choose to go back out there. So it was just a time in my life where I was just tired of living that lifestyle. And when you surrender, you have to surrender everything. Because I was trying to hold on to the lifestyle without the alcohol and drugs, but it doesn't work that way. So I had to come clean and just this is what happened. Like you say, this is not who I am today, but these things that I went through, and I can go right back to that if I was to choose to pick up or take that one drink.
And how long were you in jail for? We all remember when you went, and it's weird to see such an iconic figure go. You're like, oh my fucking God, that is what happens. Like when you keep going.
Oh, it was a horrible time. I was in jail prison actually for 10.5 months. It's tough to go to prison at any time in your life, but to go in at 40 for the first time was horrible, especially when you have little kids. And daughters especially, where if something happens, there's nothing you can do.
Wow, yeah.
You only get a 15-minute phone call per day, and if you miss that time, Big Bubba ain't gonna give up his time.
Right.
You're done. That's just the way it is.
How did they treat you in jail? Was it because you are who you are? Was that good or bad?
It was a little bit of both. When I first got there, I think it was a situation where they wanted to see how you was gonna come in, how you was gonna be just based on the name. Right away, they made it known that in here, there's no names.
Right.
You're a number. And you're no different than the other guy. You're going to pick up the trash. You're going to do it when I tell you. You're going to shower when I tell you. You're going to wear what we tell you to wear. You're going to clean up the yard when we tell you. You're going to eat when we tell you. And you're going to eat what we tell you. So it was a whole big adjustment. But I just came in, tried to be as humble as I can, and just kept my distance from everyone. And as the time went on, you start to kind of, I wouldn't say fit in is the right word, but you came to kind of adapt a little bit on certain days. But certain days you thought you was going to lose your mind.
Wow.
It's because you're coming from, for jail for anybody sucks, but coming from a place of being, like Jay said, the no-hitter, the world, all this great glory to come to this place, you got to wonder, like, what the fuck was I thinking? What happened?
Yeah, what happened? Exactly.
You're exactly right. And some days, to be honest with you guys, some days I will wake up and say, oh, this got to be a dream. I'm going to wake up in my bed. It's got to be a dream. And then some days you say, how am I going to make it? Not just, 10 months, but how am I going to make it to the next day? How am I going to make it, you carry your food, and sometimes you got some guys that if they want your food, they're going to take it. You got 10 guys, there's nothing you can do. There's a gentleman I saw, I didn't literally see him get raped, but you're like about 5 feet from the shower, and you hear him screaming for his life, you know what's going on. So you wanted it.
Oh my God!
My next, you don't know. It's just a horrible way of living.
Did that guy look anything like me, the one who was being assaulted? I imagine I'd be quite popular in that setting.
I'm certain of it.
It's a horrible situation.
Doc, what was it?
I felt that way during accounting meetings, with my accountant, and when Warner Brothers signs a contract, I felt that way. I wasn't, please continue.
Two different worlds.
That's great.
What was it in that time period? Every athlete just got arrested in Tampa. Like Tampa was just where you went to get put in jail. Every single athlete, you just see him coming out of Tampa jail.
Well, that makes perfect sense because that's a port of entry, right? That Miami is where all the.
Well,
big
he says
partying
rape in the
starts.
shower. You say port of entry.
I don't think he wants to hear that.
I don't. This is freaking me out now.
Can
I'm
you
at Governor's in
look
Levittown tonight.
back on those great moments, obviously, as an athlete, and be able to put away the part that kind of taints that? Because it seems like it would be such a waste to have such a great career, great memories professionally, but it's always got that nagging drug problem hanging over him.
That's a great question because
I was going to ask it, but
no, you weren't.
Right.
No, because what happened was so many times when I would relapse, so many times when I go on these binges, it was because I was guilty, depressed, and upset because I was thinking what my career should have been, what others thought my career should have been, more so than me thinking that. When you hear everybody say, "Oh, you should have been in the Hall of Fame," or "You should have won 300 games," I should beat myself up with that a lot of times and start believing that. Unfortunately, when I was in prison, the only good thing I can say came out of that was, even though I got in trouble in 2010 when I came out of prison in 2006, but when I was in prison, when you got nothing but time, nothing but time, and you're not going anywhere, I had a chance to relive my life, replay the whole tape, the good and bad, and everything that took place. And I came across the thing, and I said, you know what? When I was a kid, I remember telling my dad who was watching the game, I said, my goal is I want to make the major leagues. I want to stay healthy and play a long time. I never thought about awards, never thought about the Hall of Fame, never thought about winning 300 games, World Series. You don't think about that things. I got to win every award possibly for a pitcher. I got 3 World Series rings in New York. I was through the no-hitter for the Yankees. So when I look back on it, I said, look, I can't beat myself up over stuff anymore because others' expectations of me. Because when I was 5 years old, nobody thought this guy's going to be a Hall of Fame pitcher. He's going to win 300 games. And I got to really live a career that most players would dream of living. So I had to eliminate that part because I found out also in rehab that by me beating myself over that, all I was doing was giving myself a reason to go back out and use. So I had to eliminate all that and like you say, start patting myself on the back for the career that I did.
Yeah, you could look at, I guess prison will give you time to put things in perspective.
What did you do? What did you use your time to do? Because we started off talking about chess briefly there, and I know a lot of the fellas who work at the chess clubs downtown. If you see a ton of forearm tattoos, watch out because he's been playing chess constantly for his entire stay. Some guys read a lot. Some folks get into the Bible. What did you use your time doing in the joint?
Once I was there, and I kind of accepted that I'm going to be here for 2.5 months. I got in this thing where normally I would like they had this the track. I should walk the track a lot. I basically stayed to myself. I didn't play any softball, so occasionally I'll play.
Oh, they must have been pissed.
Yeah,
for softball.
That's the movie.
You know what happened? The thing was,
that had to cause problems.
He's going to play against the guards.
Right.
You know what happened? I had this guy kind of tell me when I was in the county jail before I got sent off to prison, kind of pre-warn me. He goes, when you get to prison, stay by yourself because when you get there, they have sports. They're going to already have you on a team.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're on that team, the other team's going to be pissed.
Right.
And if you're on that team, you're not doing well, your team's going to be pissed.
Oh, fuck.
And you don't want that.
And
so
it's probably going to go past just the team and the game. That's going to work its way into the actual life.
100%.
Yeah,
so when I got there, it's like, you're on our team. I was like, well, I can't play. My knee's bad. Which
good. Yeah.
So I didn't want to know part of it. So I played a lot of horseshoe. Love horseshoe, and basically just walk the track, and that was basically all I did.
Yeah, stay in shape.
They're telling us we have to wrap with
He's
Doc.
very, very busy.
I want to plug you the book.
Yes.
It's called Doc.
You got to rap. They sell $1 million for this guy.
Publicists.
That's what they told us.
This is the stop.
It's the publicist.
Yeah, what is
There's a publicist, Darth Vader and Sons, is knocking on the door, and he's making the rounds. He's doing a round.
It's called Doc.
Doc Gooden doesn't want to leave. His people are telling him he has to leave. Right. He's been beyond honest, and I think he just sold a shitload of books because this looks like a great read.
It really does.
Doc. It's called.
I'm serious.
It's called Doc, a memoir, and what I've read of it, honestly, it's fantastic, and it's honest, and it's open, and you talk about everything. And we interview a lot of athletes, and most times I don't enjoy it because I don't find them forthcoming. And I'm saying, in all honesty, you're my favorite athlete that we've interviewed. Like this, you're fucking brutally honest about everything, and it's like that's all we asked for. And it's like this book is fucking great.
Definitely a good read.
I really appreciate that. It means a lot.
It's totally honest. And David Lee Roth, you're plugging
everything under the sun. The Roth Show. I'm starting my wrestling career. Zero and the Ice Cream Gang. And I'm a Japanese Yakuza movie maker.
And Jay Mohr tonight will be at Governor's in Long Island.
Yes. Levittown.
And are we done?
I guess.
We've only just begun.
I don't know.
What a pleasure to meet you. God bless.
Yeah.
Fellas, thank you so much for your time.
What a thrill. What a thrill.
Tomorrow.
And Ethan Hawke from The Purge was in today, too.
Purge on Friday.
What a day.
Tell him, Fred.
The Virus. Sirius XM. This